with Kristen Brooks, and we're going to get a little spacey today.
Ooh, Buck Nelson. He's my favorite local Mountain Viewian. Uh,
Well, I cannot. Let me tell you one thing. I cannot believe I've lived in this town for 28 years and never even heard of Buck Nelson. So
I hadn't either until Emily actually told me about him.
Emily,
Ledgerwood.
okay,
She has Cosmic Coffee at the Neighborhood Tribe in Mountain View,
yeah,
and she based the coffee shop around him.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I was talking to my dad about him, and he's like, "Oh yeah," because my dad's grandparents lived 2 miles away from Buck,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad's grandma had actually seen a UFO herself around the same time.
Wow, and they kind of have a farm kind of close to where this Buck guy lived.
They did, yeah.
Okay, for everyone who doesn't know, let's kind of explain who Buck Nelson is. Just from the get-go, I had no idea who he was until me and you started talking about it, and it's kind of cool. He even has his own book.
Yeah, he has his own book, My Trip to Mars and the Moon and Venus, and it's a short book, but it's an easy read, and it's a very, very interesting.
Okay, and this Buck Nelson, he is a Missouri local from right here in Mountain View.
Well, he was born in Denver, Colorado,
Okay.
and he moved around a lot. He had a bunch of different odd jobs. He sawmilled and cut railroad ties, and he worked for the railroad, and he did a couple other things before he retired here.
Mm-hmm.
He farmed, and he had his own little hobby sawmill where he cut railroad ties again.
So he came from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't like a guy that was born here, raised here, never got out of Mountain View.
No.
Maybe schizophrenic.
No,
you know what I mean?
No. He was like well traveled. I believe he traveled the world too.
Okay.
Let me look at my notes.
She is looking at her book, folks.
And he had traveled at the time, all 48 states in the country.
So he's a well-traveled guy.
He is, and he's really smart too. Let me see. But like a lot of back in that time, they thought, he was crazy, he was a drunk and on drugs, but like he was none of those things.
Yeah, pretty normal guy. When was this? Back in the 60s, 70s?
His first encounter was in 1956.
1956.
I think it was July 30th, 1956.
Back then, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were pretty closed-minded, and if you were to even utter a word about,
aliens,
UFOs, aliens,
you're just crazy.
You're just crazy.
Labeled crazy. Yeah.
And nowadays, with all the stuff in the news about the UFO sightings and
and there's
Bob Lazar.
There's been I think they released documents stating that UFOs were real.
Yeah, the congressional meeting got together, and they said that their exact words were that we have recovered crafts not of this world. And it's kind of hard to take at face value for that alone, because like, what does that mean? Like
it could be anything.
Well,
really.
Yeah, like I mean, when Roswell happened, they were all talking it was swamp gas, weather balloons, and stuff. And now here we are, 2023, and they're saying no, they're crafts made not in this world, and pretty much telling us they're aliens without saying they're aliens.
But like, what's neat about Buck's book is that it talks about the first spacecraft that visited him was actually someone else from Colorado. It was actually one of his distant cousins named Bucky. And he was 18, I think, when he decided to go on to move to Venus to teach English to the people that lived on Venus.
So his cousin has quote unquote went there first.
Yes.
Right.
And so when Buck met Bucky,
this is fucking wild.
I know, it's insane.
I love this.
Bucky had been living on Venus for 2 years already.
Okay.
So he was I think he went when he was 17, and he was 19 when he came to Buck's farm, and they had stopped there because there's
Bucky came to Buck's farm.
Yeah,
okay. No, you're fine.
It's really confusing.
No, you're fine. For the audience, I'm trying to just kind of keep everything in line here.
But I get so excited talking about it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
There are certain electrical spots on the earth that are easier to travel, and they stopped. Supposedly Buck has a spring on the back of his farm that they would stop, and they would almost drain it completely, stocking up on water.
Okay.
But they had stopped and asked Buck if they could.
And by they,
the
not of these these aliens.
Yeah,
aliens. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they asked him if they could do that without, him shooting at them or whatever.
Yeah, like true Missourians do.
And he's like, yeah, sure. But what was really interesting is like there's a part that talks about before they come down, they like shot him with this beam of light, and he describes it as like this warm feeling, and it had knocked him down. And he had a lumbago in his back.
A lumbago.
And
is that a disease?
I'm not sure. I didn't really look into it.
But he had something going on with his back.
That caused him pain, yeah.
Okay.
And arthritis, and his eyesight was going bad. And he said after he got shot with that beam, that all that was fixed all of a sudden.
Really?
And, like, his eyesight was perfect. He didn't have pain in his back, and he didn't have arthritis anymore.
Them fuckers need to come shoot me.
I know. I'm like, come on,
come shoot me. My eyes are horrible.
I know. Like my back hurts all the time. I'm just like, beam me up, Scotty.
Yes,
take
exactly.
me to Venus,
exactly,
please.
And okay, so where we're at is they stopped, asked permission to go into this spring to get water, refuel, resupply, whatever it was. Shot with a blue light. Okay, what's next?
So then they're just kind of curious about Buck, and so they go into his house and like look at all of his stuff, and then they decide that he's worthy in a sense to go back and explore. And I think little Bucky's yeah, I'll call him Little Bucky. His mission basically was to teach Buck, like, they have 12 laws of the universe, which are really similar to the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
So it was kind of like he wanted to teach Buck so that Buck could tell the rest of us, how to live without winding up
in a nuclear holocaust.
Exactly.
Maybe? Yeah.
Well, utter destruction.
And that brings another very interesting point that I think about a lot when we're talking about like aliens, UFOs. I, more than anyone, want UFOs to be real. I am so excited that, we've got UFO activity going on. Like, just come on down. Show us who you are, please.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just like, people probably think I'm such a weirdo, but I'm like, there has to be more.
I would flip shit.
Than just us.
Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people would like be scared to death, but me, I'd be jumping up and down like a little kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God, they're here. They're finally here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put myself out there. I had a dream one time that I was walking down Y Highway towards town, but it was gravel.
Oh,
so it's
so
really
like
strange.
Older times, maybe?
Yeah. It was almost like I was back in 1956, and which I had this dream before I heard about Buck.
Okay.
So, but like in the dream, I'm walking this dirt road on Y Highway in Mountain View towards town, and like I look up and I see this spaceship, and usually like you're like, oh no, you're scared, but I'm like, oh, like I know them.
Yeah, like it felt familiar.
Yeah, almost. And like in the dream, it was like a spacecraft like bringing people that I know back to Earth for a visit.
Oh wow, so maybe kind of like a heaven prophecy type thing.
Possibly, that was the vibe.
Because I know a lot of religious scholars or scientists and stuff, whenever you get into the UFO realm, one thing that it has in common with religion is that usually there's these commandments. They're wanting to teach us something, how to be better humans, how to be kind to each other, how to love each other, without killing each other. Because, I mean, humans have the power of the sun in our hands now. And I don't think we've ever lived in a more scary time than what we live in.
It's terrifying right now. I am absolutely terrified.
Shit is hitting the fan with Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, and it just seems it's starting to become a snowball effect. And I'm scared we're going to repeat the mistakes of our past, because for some reason as a human species we are so short-minded and short-sighted. And but yes, and we have ancient civilizations that talk about sky people that
yeah, that's like have you ever heard of the Anunnaki?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I
that
know
ties into religion, and it's just insane how like the things connect, and how like God is basically the same entity in each religion.
Exactly.
And
and I say that a lot, like, because I believe that God is God. Whether it be God, Buddha, whatever you want to call him.
There's always that one.
There's always that one singular,
yep.
and that has a son. You know, we all have the same storyline with all these religions as far as a natural disaster. We have a great awakening. We have these commandments, these tenets that we're supposed to follow to help our fellow man, and at the end we will be rewarded. And I find that very interesting that throughout hundreds of thousands of years of our history, that for some reason we still manage to have this same guiding principle and this line that goes straight into connecting the UFOs with religion.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that very interesting.
Well, since we're on that, let me read you the laws that are, I don't know if who exactly the laws are by, but they're eerily similar to the 10 Commandments. And the first one is love your maker God, which is, you know, pretty standard.
Yes.
Thou shalt not kill, but that includes accidents and wars. Like you're not supposed to even do that. Love your neighbor. Let your light shine before men, and all will see your good works, and it will be an honor to you and your maker. 5 is thou shalt not commit adultery. 6 is thou shalt not steal. 7, thou must do as thou wish to be done by. So treat people how you want to be treated.
Exactly.
No other God shall be before thee, which is pretty standard.
So
too.
no false idol, kind of, you know, same thing like with the Christian commandment.
Yeah. Do not take the name God in vain, which is a touchy one because that might be a whole nother podcast.
Yes. I'm down. I mean, you're more than welcome anytime, especially to talk this stuff. I love it.
Yeah, we're very like-minded.
Yes.
Number 10 is honor your father and mother, which is, I believe, one of the
commandment.
11 is your body is God's. Do not misuse it in any way. Do not drink or eat anything that is not food. Use nothing to harm the body, either inside or outside. And wear nothing on the body that harms it or is of no use. And number 12 says, God made the heaven and the earth, and we must give him thanks for what he gives us.
Those are
like
beautiful.
Practicing gratitude and stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just crazy how, you know, I don't think he was religious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have an alien experience, I don't see how you could be after that.
I know.
Because the questions that would race through your head, and I would go crazy. And I think if aliens are out there and say they are way more advanced than us, maybe they do not show themselves for the simple reason of we can't handle it.
I'd say that they're embarrassed of us.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I mean, I guarantee you they look down on us and look at them warring monkeys who have the power of the sun in their hand. Excuse me. And they're just trying to kill each other.
Yeah. Or like, we're like the trailer park of the planets.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they haven't invited us into the galactic system or whatever they've got. But yeah, it's pretty cool how those commandments kind of line up with pretty much just the human basic principle of being a good human, I guess.
Exactly. And Buck talks about, like, when he goes to Venus, like, they don't need police, they don't have jails, people are just good people, and so they don't need to be bossed around. They do pay taxes, but he said that they had low taxes, so I'm like, I'm all for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, you know, taxes you kind of got to have, especially for social like programs, like, you know, like food stamps, welfare, whatever it is, you know, that's something that is needed because, and I hear this, especially in this town, and it kind of drives me crazy because in my mind, the number one argument is always, well, look at how many people abuse it. You know, who they don't need it. Well, we don't know if they don't need it or not.
Yeah, but and this can be said for anything, there are good people who need it, and there are going to be bad people who abuse it and take advantage.
Exactly.
There will always be bad people taking advantage. That's like with people on food stamps, police officers, teachers, doctors. There's always going to be bad people.
Yes, but in my thinking, if one child gets fed,
it's worth it.
It's freaking worth it. I don't the taxes are going to get fucking taken from us either way. Why not to benefit our fellow humans? Whether, who cares if 90% of these systems are abused? If by 90% of the people, that 10% that needed it are very thankful for it. And I think that's a very important thing. Yeah. Well, we almost have a responsibility, I think, as a civilized society to take care of the struggling, to take care of the ones who have fallen on hard times. I mean, I've been there. I'm sure everyone has been into a point in their life where they've had a hard time where a little hand up would have helped.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. I really do think that the systems, no matter what, is very much needed, especially in these small towns. You can come to any small town, look around, and see like it's needed, and that's no slight on them,
But like in on these planets,
yes.
these people are like in such a harmony that it's just perfect. It's just such.
If only we could learn
be like that.
be like that.
And like honor like good morals and take care of each other.
But do you think that maybe it's just part of the evolutionary process? Because let's say those people or whatever they are living on Venus, they probably not always been perfect, and it probably took a lot of trial and error to get there. And maybe, I don't know, I'm an idiot, I'm just a tireman, but maybe this is just another step in our evolutionary process to get to the point to where we can open our hearts and open our minds and be able to live in such a beautiful utopia eventually. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea in theory, but I don't think the people on this earth are capable of it because they're so selfish.
Yeah, well, I think the one big cliff that we would have to get over is one, finding a leader who would not abuse the power. Right now, the only people who want to get into politics are sociopathic liars who just cling to every little bit of power with all their might.
Exactly.
And they've lived in that little bubble of being the governor, not the governed. And so they are so disconnected with us everyday normal people to understand. And what I hate that our election cycle has become a popularity contest.
Exactly.
And a fucking reality TV show. It blows my mind what people get happy seeing politicians say.
Yeah.
I'm like, they control the nukes. And
some of them are just so obsessed with certain candidates that they just they hear nothing.
Identity politics. They identify with that politician.
Or a certain branch.
Or a certain branch or color, red, blue. And they will vote against their own interests to make sure that they are staying with the political affiliation that they have been taught to love. What do you think about that?
I think exactly the same as you do. Yeah. Like they would rather, chew their own arm off than not be, who they think they're identified as.
Exactly. And what's it going to take in our country to realize maybe keeping the same old rich people in power, everything's going to stay status quo, we're never going to change a thing? It's going to take everyday normal people like us, like others who have lived in the society of being governed and not being the governor, because we know what it's like to live under those laws. And so I think it would take a normal everyday person to get into office to show that compassion for the little man, the smaller people.
We would need lots of everyday little people in office.
I agree. But I also think it starts at the public, on the town, the city, the county level, but no one's interested in those politics.
I think there are too many crooked people in this world for the good people to.
I think it's human nature.
Yeah, it is human nature. And you really have to fight it if you want to be a good person.
Yes. We are greedy, selfish, self-entitled, crazy monkeys is what we are. And we fight over these imaginary borders, these imaginary lines that we've drawn in the sand, that's mine. And it's like we're a bunch of little fucking toddlers kicking and screaming. And I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
It is pretty much like a toddler. Like if one kid has a toy and another kid wants it just because they have it, sort of thing.
That's exactly what it is. But then every 4 years, we get so excited to see them go at it, and I don't know if we're just wanting more reality TV or what, but every crazy thing said, it like hypes them up. They're like, yeah, that's mine. That's the person I'm voting for.
It's almost like a real life Hunger Games at this point.
It is. And God, where are we going to be in 5 years?
Oh gosh. Hopefully on Venus.
That'd be nice. I don't know. I think in the next few years, we're going to start seeing some big revelations on UFOs, on whether they are Actually, UFOs.
I hope they come to take me home.
Me too. Me too.
I've actually driven out. They said that his place was on Wolf Creek, which is kind of right past my house on Y Highway at County Line. And I drove out there a couple of times.
To his place.
Not to his place. The first 2 times I didn't go far enough. But like there's a spot on that gravel road where you're like right on the top of a hill and all you can see is the sky around you, and it is just amazing. And I'm just like basically UFO searching.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2 weekends ago, I went out there. We found what I think is his place. I don't know who owns it now. But
so it didn't stay in the family, like it's been sold off or something.
I think so, because they haven't technically confirmed Buck's death. They speculate that he went to California with family and died out there, but there's
never seen his body
proof of anything. So I'm like, he's probably on Venus.
Did the
living
aliens
it up.
come and snag him up?
I would say so.
Man.
That's where I hope he is.
That is
living it up.
That is so interesting. I mean, it's crazy that this small ass town. What do we got? Like 2,000 people in our town, maybe a little more. And something like this that's so super fucking interesting, and no one's ever talked about it.
Yeah,
and like, what the fuck?
And it's crazy because when I'd ask my dad about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know about Buck."
Same.
I'm like, what?
I can't remember. It may have been my grandpa, but after we were talking, I was trying to pick some people's brains on it, and I was asking. They're like, "Oh yeah, they used to have conventions up there."
Yeah, hundreds of people would come, and people would set up like hamburger stands and sell food, and like it was a big thing.
Ain't that crazy?
And then, but like there was part of Buck's book. He talked about these men in these black suits coming to see him and telling him to forget everything that he knew, and they couldn't, like Men in Black zoom him, so they're like, just don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm probably a little more threatening.
And they cut his retirement pension too, because he
Yeah, they cut his retirement pension.
His Social Security. Yeah.
Oh my god, because he came out with this book or whatever. Oh my god,
because he talked about it.
You are shitting me.
No.
Oh my god, that brings a whole new level to it. I mean,
know, right? They did not want him to talk about it.
That is crazy. Well, that's like, have you ever heard of Boba Lazar?
No.
You've never heard of Boba Lazar?
I don't know. It sounds kind of familiar, but I can't place it.
Boba Lazar, he in the 60s or 70s, I can't remember the exact date. He worked at this place called Area S4, and it's in Nevada. It was an offshoot of Area 51. He's been talking about this for probably over 40, 50 years now. While working, he was a propulsionist. So he worked on like propulsion for airplanes and jets and stuff like that. That's what his major was in, or not major, but that's what he specialized in. He was in the Los Alamos newspaper by making a jet engine vehicle that runs on jet fuel, and it would go like 200 miles an hour. Dang. Okay, so he's very experienced in his realm of propulsion. Well, he came out with a story back in, I think it's the 60s, like 68, 69, somewhere in there, that the government had contracted him on to work on this propulsion system that they do not understand. So he goes through all this background checks and everything, and in the interview and stuff, they're telling him, like, what would you do if you found out aliens were real? What would you do if you saw a craft that is not of this world? Just like, they released last year, the Congress did. And anyway, he gets there. I'm trying to make a long story short here. He gets there. He's working on this UFO, this flying saucer. It has this little ball that stands in a tower, and that's what controls the propulsion system. It makes gravity, is basically where he was getting at. We have no ability to make it. We don't have the technology to even replicate it. And Bob said that it was found in an archaeological dig. It didn't come from come down crash and we picked it up. They uncovered it in the dirt.
Oh my gosh.
I think he said they have 18 of them in a hangar. He's seen them. Well, anyway, he gets really worried that this technology is out there, that they're not letting the public know about it. It's all very compartmentalized. Like the propulsionists just work on the propulsion. The engineering just touches what they need. So
yeah, they don't want everyone to have all the information, only little bits and pieces.
As little as you can know while still doing your job, basically, is what he was saying. Well, he he's working there for quite a while, and he tells his buddies, "Hey, do you guys want to come out and watch this thing test flight? I've got the test flight schedule." So they go out on this road and they're watching, and here it comes, moving up, down, sideways, all this weird stuff.
That's exactly how it's described in Buck's book. Like it could go up and down, like anywhere. Like the technology is insane.
Well, I mean, that's what Bob was saying, and he worked on it. So there has to be something as far as the same tech of some sort. So, but anyway, he went in there with his buddies, showed them it and everything. He ends up getting caught.
Oh,
yes, and they lay him off this project. They tell him that his wife is having an affair.
Oh no,
which she was. They got the video transcript, or not the video, but the telephone transcript at the time, because it was like the 70s, so phones weren't like we got now, where we've got a fucking TV in our pocket.
Exactly.
But so they get it. They tell him about his wife cheating on him, and then they start this narrative that he's distraught. He's distraught because his wife's cheating on him.
And did he commit suicide after that?
No, he's still alive to this day. He's still talking about it. He doesn't talk about it much. But this is what's so interesting about it. He worked at Los Alamos Research Lab. And there's proof that he worked there. Okay, he's got directories with his name in it. There's people that knew him. He went and toured the building with a camera crew, and people in there were like, "Hey, Bob, long time no see." So he's a regular. They know him. Okay, he worked there. That is, well, the government, they know he never worked there. He has no birth certificate anymore. He went to MIT. There is no record of him going to MIT. They took his life away.
Completely erase you.
They took his life away for releasing this, and he was so scared that they were going to kill him over this. So he went and talked to the news, and he has a journalist following him around, and he talked about this element 115. It wasn't on the periodical charts yet. So, and guess what we have on our periodical charts now? Element 115.
Wow.
40 years later, it's on there. He talks about gravity being a wave, and that wasn't found out until like 2016. Everyone, I don't know what they thought it was. I'm not a scientist, but they didn't think it was a wave, and now it's a wave, like he said. So everything over these past 40 or 50 years that he's been talking about has been coming true.
That's insane.
And so he's been vindicated on a lot of the things he said. And yeah, so his whole statement was he worked on UFOs. He worked on them personally. They're out there, but they found him in an archaeological dig instead of like falling from the sky or something. So they've been here for a long time.
Well, yeah, that brings up like the age-old question about like who built the pyramids and what kind of technology was needed to do that.
Fucking pyramids are wild.
And they're huge.
I want to go see them. I mean, in a picture, I don't think you can fathom how big they really are.
And I feel like they're even bigger underground. Like I feel like there's more that probably the government knows about but refuses to tell us.
Yes, well, like it's so weird because I was reading a thing that we are closer. Cleopatra is closer to seeing the iPhone being built than she was for seeing the pyramids being erected.
Whoa.
That's how old the pyramids are. But you never think about it. You always think ancient Egypt is ancient Egypt. You don't think about the new kingdom, the old kingdom, the old dynasty.
Or like even like the city of Atlantis.
Yes. Have you seen the new stuff on that?
I have not, but like in Buck's book, it talks about little Bucky sent a message, like a Christmas message, basically saying that if we don't use like our atomic power for good, then we would basically like blow ourselves up and like ruin all of our civilization, like what happened to the city of Atlantis.
Yes. Well, I mean, that the age-old question, have we been here before? Have we been this technologically advanced and then knocked ourselves back into the Stone Age?
I feel like there have been civilizations that were even more advanced than we are now.
It's very possible because, I mean, just look at what we got today. How many thousands of years would it take to erase any history of us? I mean, it wouldn't take long in the grand scheme of the universe. It would not take long for there to be for nature to take back what's theirs.
Oh, no.
And we be gone. And they might find a Mickey Mouse statue.
Well, if you like look at any old like abandoned buildings or houses, like how quickly nature takes it back, like trees growing through, like vines and stuff. It's just insane.
We are just renting space.
Like if you think about Chernobyl, like if you look at footage of it now, it's just like completely taken over by nature.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, you can't even tell that there's a disaster there. I mean, the fruit is deadly because of the radiation and everything, but just look looking at it, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And with the pyramids just, man, they baffle me. I mean, of course they baffle me, but I mean, they baffle everyone.
And they're so strategically placed in certain points around the world.
Yes. Yeah, because Egypt is not the only place with pyramids.
No.
I mean, the Mayans, the Aztecs. Didn't they find some in like Greece or Persia or
I couldn't tell you.
Somewhere like that I was reading about recently. I'm kind of a psycho on it, and I read a lot about it. But for some reason, we know all ancient civilizations built these big pointy things for some reason. And they seem to align with the stars.
Yeah.
And it seems like every ancient civilization had a fascination with looking up at the stars. And all of them have a story about the gods coming down, mingling with them, giving them tech, giving them food, giving them a new way to govern. And I don't know, it's just very interesting to me.
That makes me think about the Anunnaki again, like how they came, but they were already humans here when they came.
Before we get into the Anunnaki, will you please just kind of go over what the Anunnaki is for those who don't know?
Well, I'm not an expert, but the Anunnaki, were basically aliens. They were weren't they just abnormally large? And they came and taught us the technology and basically
gave us kind of art, literature.
Yeah, kind of. But we were kind of their slaves too at the same time. Yeah. And then the whole story kind of ties in biblically because the Anunnaki started to mate with the humanoids that were already here, which created Nephilim, yeah. And with the Great Flood, so there were too many Nephilim, and so the Anunnaki leader, when it was flooded the earth to kill them so that they wouldn't kind of fight for power.
Yeah, because like us, they're probably flawed, and everyone wants to have that power in their hand.
He didn't want any of the offspring to take over, so he flooded the earth, which is like the story of Noah. And
ain't that weird how the story stays the same, just the names change?
Exactly. But then they left. Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about Anunnaki. I know a little bit about it from what people have told me and stuff, but isn't there like a running theory that they have a planet somewhere like Planet X where they live, and then every so many thousand years that they come into orbit with us to where and that's when they come down to
Was that what it was?
I think so.
That sounds familiar though.
I think so. I think that's what it was, but I can't remember. And something about gold that they need.
Oh, gold. Yeah. The reason they came here was to mine, I think, gold, and so they used the humanoids as slaves, and then they started mating with them, creating the Nephilim.
And then after they got tired of them, they flooded them out, tried to kill them.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But wow, that's freaking wild. I love this. Anyway, back to Buck. So how did you find out about him?
I found out about him from my best friend Emily, Ledgerwood. She
owner of the tribe.
Yeah, the Neighborhood Tribe, and then there's Cosmic Coffee inside of it, which has the best coffee. Shameless plug. I drink it every day. She found out about it. I don't remember where she found out about it, but she did. She was telling me about it. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, these spaceships. This town used to be known for it. I'm like, says who?
Mountain View, Missouri.
I'm like, this place?
Ain't that crazy?
Like, we're nothing special, but yeah, he was a big deal back in the 1950s and early 60s.
And what's so crazy is you can go around our town and ask these older people about it. And they're, oh yeah, we know. Why ain't you telling us?
Yeah,
why are you letting us lose this amazing, interesting piece of history?
I know.
No one talks about it. We should definitely have like a Buck Nelson Day.
We are actually at the Neighborhood Tribe April 1st.
April 1st.
I believe it's 12:30 to 3:30, and we're going to try to get as many locals that know the history of Buck to come and talk.
Getting the oldies to come on in and tell those stories.
So I'm going to try to get my dad to come because I know he knew the story of my great grandma Virginia McClellan. He had said that she was driving through the creek one day and her car got stuck, and all of a sudden her car was just moving out of the way, and I'm like, oh,
just out of nowhere,
yeah. Wow. But he said she was so embarrassed by it that she never told a soul. She told one person. Well, and then I guess after she passed, he told the family.
There's a huge stigma with UFOs. And the government did an amazing job back when Roswell happened to make sure people didn't talk about anything they saw. Because whether they saw a actual alien spacecraft or whatever, UFO means unidentified flying object, saw something. But they were so good at just stamping this label on
You're
people.
crazy.
You're
you don't
crazy.
know. Yeah, you're
It's
on
swamp
drugs.
gas.
Yeah.
Or you're on drugs. You're schizophrenic. And people don't want to be ostracized at all. I mean, most people want to live a very quiet life with as little resistance as possible in their life.
Yeah.
And you go around saying, I seen a UFO or I got took into Venus or something. I mean,
but like that was the reason Buck got to go. Like he agreed to tell people, about the rules, and that,
So they were wanting him to come down, tell like this is how you guys.
Kind of like a messenger, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll take you, but when you get back, you have to tell the people. You have to tell your story.
That's awesome. I would really like to know more history on Buck, on what he went through after telling the story, and like, just like after the book comes out, what happened in his life after that. Like that's so interesting.
Which he was fairly old when he did the trip. I don't remember exactly how old he was, but he was born in 1895, if that tells you anything.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't sound like that long ago, but
that's so weird. Like 1895. Like my son, he's 9. Yesterday he's like, Mom, did they have cars when you were a kid? I'm like,
no, we went horse and buggy.
I'm like, how do you think we got around?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, back in he's like, did you have cars in the 1900s?
In the 1900s.
I'm like, you can walk home.
God, yeah, exactly, man. We're getting old. Jesus.
I know, but like,
that's like our generation is so fucking weird because we had a time without internet, without cell phones, and then we were kind of integrated into it.
We were really kind of in the middle, like.
Yeah, so we remember a time where we were go play and come home at dark, and then we grew up and got addicted to the cell phones, and we're kind of like this homeless in between generations because we know,
like, we remember the good days, but like, give me that TikTok.
Exactly.
24 hours a day.
Force feed me that entertainment.
Yeah, it's a dopamine.
It is. It's a dopamine hit, and we're just a bunch of fucking junkies that just hit that button every day. Just
it's an addiction.
I've got mine in a folder, and I'm only allowed to open it like after work for like 30 minutes because I get addicted so quick.
I'm online a lot.
my thing is Facebook. They've done so good with imitating the reels from TikTok and stuff. I get on Facebook and I'm I'm a sucker for YouTube. I like to YouTube before bed, and I do the shorts, and I watch the most randomest stuff, like animals being rescued. I'm like crying in bed. I'm like, I want to rescue an animal. Well, do you think, like, in today's world, because everything's focused on such short attention span, so we got like a 10-second reel. How do you think that's affecting our kids?
Oh, it's horrible for our kids.
They're not going to be able to sit down even in a school for an hour lecture because they're so used to that, like, dopamine, that hit. Like, what are the long-term effects of that? Like, because we know ADHD and all that is getting a lot more prevalent in society. And I think these damn little heroin needles, aka the cell phone.
Yeah, I'm addicted. That's
we all
my phone and coffee.
Yeah.
My addictions.
Well, I mean, there's worse addictions out there.
I know.
But I mean, that's a pretty good addiction to have, is phone and coffee. But that's what I worry about. Like, I have a little girl. She's 5 years old, and boy, even whenever she was younger, I'd be on my phone doing something. Got any games? Can I play those games? just salivating, looking at you. Like, come on, let me play those games.
That's like, with that storm last night, our Wi-Fi was out, and oh my gosh, my kids drive me absolutely bonkers when we have no Wi-Fi.
What do we do?
I'm like, leave me alone. They're like right on top of me, like, text them and have them fix the Wi-Fi. And one time the Wi-Fi was out, and Isla, she's 4, she was like, Mom, I prayed to Jesus that the Wi-Fi would come back on. I'm like, that's not how it works, but okay.
That's so cute, though.
Like, the one time you pray to Jesus is for the Wi-Fi. I'm raising them right.
Hey, it's definitely not their fault. This society, it's crazy. But that's like, what I'm doing here in this podcast is I'm trying to do more long form conversation and more, take our time, talk, get to know each other, joke, have fun, because I think this is like human interaction is starting to be a lost thing.
Yeah, and as humans, we desperately need human connection.
Well, what's the worst thing you can do to a rapist, a murderer, a pedophile? What's the worst thing you can do is put them in solitary confinement away from every other human.
Them, yeah.
Yeah, and we are such social creatures that we crave it, we need it, we have to have friendship, companionship, just the interaction. I think it does a lot for us. And I think it's I'm going to sound kind of weird here, but I think it's like a healing, a group healing, like talking to people, being with people. And I think there's energy that comes from that.
Oh yeah, people definitely have energy, and some people will suck your energy. So you have to be careful about who you interact with, for sure.
Almost like a vampire, just suck it out of you.
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, there's some people that I interact with, and I go home, and I'm just like,
drains you.
Oh, yeah.
You are like ready for bed once you get home because of whatever it is that they just suck out of you. And it might not be to their fault, but it's one of those things where you definitely should distance yourself from people because we only have so much energy,
But then there are people like Emily that like I get around her,
fills
and
your cup.
If I'm like sad and depressed, I hang out with her, and she's like just makes me feel so wonderful.
And those are the people you want to surround yourself with,
exactly.
Because I firmly believe you are who you are around. You pick up those traits because like we're social creatures.
Yeah.
Because I'll notice if I have a friend and I'm hanging out with him, if he laughs a certain way, I'll catch myself every once in a while.
Oh my gosh, I do that too. Or people with accents.
Yes, and then you just like somehow like get that accent in you or that laugh, and I think that has a lot, like with the people you hang out with and you're around, it can either draw you down or it can build you up. And
exactly.
I think a lot of people are scared to get away from the ones that draw them down because they usually are a loved one or someone that they deeply care about in one way or another.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with setting boundaries with people.
Yes.
That I used to be horrible with that, like not setting boundaries.
Well, it's such a weird thing in society today. I mean, we're talking about boundaries. Like most people have lost the ability to understand not everyone has to like everything they do.
Exactly.
And you say, hey, that's not cool, I don't like that. How dare you have feelings and feel a certain way about something I do? It's like no one wants to take responsibility anymore.
Or they want you to feel a certain way.
Yes, and if you don't, they get mad.
And I feel
psychopaths.
I don't want to like get completely political again, but like
we can talk everything on here.
I feel like people have the right to their own bodies, and they shouldn't expect other people to treat them a certain way.
I agree 120,000%.
It's kind of like the world's not fair, but you can still protect yourself and your own essence, basically.
Yes, I agree. I think we have a responsibility to ourselves to do the things that are healthy for us. Whatever that may be, whatever you feel is healthy for you, that is 100% what you should be doing.
Yeah, as long as you're not harming someone else.
Exactly. Yes. But I feel like people have chains on, I think is a great way to put it. They have chains and they're afraid to disappoint. They're afraid to look a fool. They're afraid that someone is going to say something negative about them.
I used to be that way. I used to be afraid of like getting in trouble, like the consequences of things or hurting people's feelings. Like I didn't want people to be mad at me. And now that I'm 32,
fuck them.
I'm more like, you know what? I'm just gonna be me and do me. And if they don't like it, if they think I'm a weirdo, then that's okay.
Exactly.
Not everybody has good taste.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
That's good. I like that. But it's true. That's like this podcast. I don't expect everyone in Mountain View or surrounding
to listen to it,
to listen or like it, because a lot of people around here think they know me.
They're so close-minded too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them that just they were taught one certain way, and that's their truth.
Exactly.
And I've ran into a lot of people that they're like, I know you're this and this, and I'm like,
they know your dad or somebody you're related to.
And they automatically assume you're a certain way. Like, I know a lot of people, they think I'm just this alt-right conservative, and I am not. It's just if you sit down and have a conversation with me, you realize I'm pretty liberal. And it's going to ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. Best thing I ever did was quit watching news.
Oh yeah, I don't watch the news at all. I see stuff on Facebook and I'm like,
it will depress you.
I get so not paranoid, but just like anxious. Like I was a doomsday prepper there for a little bit. I still have some like the doomsday meals saved, and I'm like daydreaming about digging a basement underneath my house and all kinds of stuff. Like I'm a worrier. I worry about everything.
But the thing is, like, and it's designed like that. I firmly believe it is designed. How am I going to put this?
Well, everything that the news puts out is made to make us afraid.
An emotional
because
response.
when people are afraid, they're easier to control.
You are 130,000% right. I mean,
listen,
just
I got some thoughts up here.
Well, I mean, okay, this is a great example. Just, I know this is a touchy subject, but just look at COVID.
Mm-hmm.
People were afraid and
terrified,
and I don't blame them.
They were willing to set their loved ones on fire to save themselves, basically.
Exactly, and that is a scary fucking thing
Mm-hmm.
because it shows you how close we are to imploding as a society.
Oh yeah,
COVID almost did it.
Mm-hmm.
COVID almost destroyed us.
I mean, we were fighting each other. They were saying, don't let unvaccinated people in the hospitals. Don't take care of unvaccinated people.
Like punish them for having a choice.
Unvaccinated people shouldn't be allowed to have jobs or leave their house.
It was a crazy fucking time.
And I worked in the pharmacy during the time too. So, but like I was like, you know what? If it's my time, it's my time. If I get COVID and die from it, if it's as scary as you say it is, then that's what it is,
And it was scary for older people, for unhealthy people.
Well, my mom had stage 4 lung cancer during COVID. And like she lived through it all. Mm-hmm. And then she passed later on, but she wasn't scared of COVID. She went and did whatever she wanted. And
I'm sorry about your mom.
Thank you.
But and I also I firmly believe your mom did exactly what we as humans are supposed to do. We're not supposed to worry about our end. We're supposed to enjoy what we got.
No, like even if you're religious or not, you're not supposed to worry and just trust in the universe, God,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because we have an expiration date. Whether we want to admit it or not, you, I, Emily,
and
we
it's
all have
set. You can't do anything to change it.
Exactly. So why spend what few precious moments that we do have? Because in the history of our universe, we are a snap and we're gone. So why spend that doing anything less than what makes us happy?
Exactly.
And I feel that COVID brought out the worst in everyone.
It did, but it really opened a lot of eyes too.
I think it closed a bunch too.
It did close a bunch, but I think it opened the eyes of some that
needed it.
Yeah. Because I feel like there are more people like seeing that the powers that be, the government, are actually trying to take our freedoms and stuff like that away from our rights, away from us.
And they're trying to do it in plain sight, in front of our eyes.
It's right in.
Have you ever looked in? I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, go ahead.
Have you looked into the World Economic Forum at all?
I have not.
Don't.
I don't want to.
Just fucking don't. It's horrible. There's a German engineer, whatever he is. His name's Klaus Schwab. He has this World Economic Forum that all these presidents and leaders of the free world, they all go to, and they're talking about the future of tomorrow. I was watching, like I said, I'm fucking crazy. I read a bunch of stuff, and they had a seminar on brainwave transparency. So they gave the example of say me and you work in the same building and we're working on a project, and I'm like, hey Kristen, can you come help me with this project? You don't know I'm embezzling money from the company, and you would just help me without knowing you help me. Well, they take our brainwave activity and they can measure it against everyone else's and see who helped you because you'd have pretty close similar brainwaves. And so you would be just as guilty for it as I would, because they pulled the data from your brain.
Oh my gosh, that's
insane. You know how that starts?
How?
With Neuralink. And I was so excited for Neuralink until I saw that brain transparency shit.
Listen, I'm so paranoid. I won't even do like the DNA family tree things, ancestor.
No, me neither.
Although they probably already have my DNA from
the hospital or whatever.
The hospital.
But we're not going to give it to them.
No, I'm not giving them any extra DNA.
Fuck you guys. But yeah, that's what they were talking about, is brainwave transparency.
Yeah, and I like, even with TV, the cartoons, if you look into them, they're very subliminal and like sending messages.
And we might not pick up on it consciously, but subconsciously, especially our kids, they absorb. They're fucking sponges.
I know.
They absorb everything, and it worries me what these past 6 years, just these past 6 years, since my daughter's been born, all she's known is COVID. And your kids, most of their life have been under this regime of COVID.
Yeah.
And like, what's the normal to them?
Well, my kids, because I was just like, oh, COVID, whatever.
Yeah.
I pretty much did the same thing.
Yeah.
Lived my life normally. I think I got sick like one time, and out of respect for others, I wore a mask if I had to go in public. But our lives didn't really change.
I saw someone yesterday wearing a mask by themselves in their vehicle.
What?
We lost them.
Now, if it's really cold outside, those masks come in handy to keep your face warm.
Yeah, I agree. But...
Or if someone is really stinky.
Yeah,
when I worked
at breath.
When I worked at the pharmacy, there are a lot of people that don't know about deodorant. So, and sometimes you could still smell them through the mask.
Or toothpaste.
Oh
my God. There's nothing
like,
worse.
here, we're giving out free gums today.
Here, let me flush your fucking
Spicy
teeth for you real quick, bud. Oh.
It's complimentary with your prescription.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Just let me get that gingivitis. Oh my God. Humans are such weird creatures.
We are so weird.
What we need is for the aliens to come down.
I know.
Take our nukes away.
Wasn't there was they shot an aircraft down or saw an aircraft somewhere in the
Arctic?
No, in the
was it recent?
Northwest, maybe somewhere.
Was it recent?
It was around the same time that those trains derailed in Ohio.
Oh, well, of course. That's why the trains
Some
derailed in Ohio.
Distraction.
Yeah. The Chinese spy balloons? Is that what you're...
No, it was after that. It was after the spy balloon, and then there was it was all over Facebook, UFO. Maybe they just spotted it.
I do remember that. They had like 6 different sightings, like right back to back. One was in Antarctica. One was up by Canada. And there were several in the United States.
And I was like, let me drive there real quick and see if they'll take me back. Like, I'm so tired of this planet.
Well, that's like, did you ever read any into Roswell on the crash and what happened there?
But not a lot.
I mean, there are pictures of these semis going in, loading this plane or whatever it was. It was a disc shape, loading it up, putting a tarp on it, and going out there, and then telling everyone it's swamp gas. It's swamp gas. It's weather balloons or whatever. And then ever since Roswell, it seems like UFO activity has gotten hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's becoming more of a mainstream thing. So I feel like people are not as scared to talk about it anymore.
They're kind of almost desensitized to it. But have you ever watched that show, what was it, Skinwalker Ranch?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Jeremy Corbell. I think he's the one who did the documentary on Bob Lazar.
Oh yeah.
And he directed one of the Skinwalker Ranch.
I was upset. I found Skinwalkers on TikTok one night. I was saying
going, hey, in the woods.
Maybe I don't. That freaks me out.
Freaks
me out. So, okay, so I came across Skinwalkers on TikTok. And so I was like watching all the TikTok videos of Skinwalkers that I could find, and I scared myself shitless, and I'm like scared to go to sleep. And then I found the show, and I was watching it, and I was like, this is, the taboo or whatever. And then towards the end of the show, they took a helicopter because they see things in the sky there.
Yeah.
So it must be like a magnetic highway or something. Well, and so they took this helicopter up into the sky to get to that spot. And there's a sensor underneath that will tell you how close you are to an object.
A sensor like in the helicopter, like
underneath it, so that you don't crash and stuff. Well, they were up like 2,000 feet, and it kept going off that there was something like 40 to 50 feet below them, and it moved with them. So I'm thinking, that is a spaceship in a different dimension.
Exactly. Either that or cloaking or whatever.
Yes, because they did not want them to fly their helicopter up there.
Yeah.
And then in another episode, they dug into the land there, and they hit something metal, and they couldn't dig any further, and they did like a sonar or something, and they said it was like in a football shape. And I'm thinking, that's a freaking spaceship.
Like a
like
ship
it's not ghosts and stuff. It's just aliens.
Well, that's Skinwalker Ranch. Didn't they? They always talk about it being a quote unquote highway, and haven't people like reported seeing like portals opening up type thing?
Portals and like cattle being mutilated with like no blood and like surgical precision and stuff like that.
that.
And like radioactive, in one episode, they are looking like in a old cistern or well by one of the old homestead houses. And this guy got blasted by radiation, had to go to the doctor, and like I think it was his ear or forehead maybe, and like it was serious.
Oh my God.
Serious stuff. And they went back like a couple days later and the radiation was gone. It's just insane.
There's some wonky shit going on there. Now, ATIP, the it was a research thing for UFOs. It's called ATIP, and they actually did a government study of Skinwalker Ranch. And for those who don't know what Skinwalker Ranch is, I don't know what state it's in. Is it in Nevada?
It's in Utah.
Utah. Okay, there is a ranch in Utah that have had, I mean, paranormal things happening for years. And I mean, everything from, people see UFOs, cattle mutilations. They've had a cow that was locked up. It ended up inside of a building that had no doors or something like that. But these cows that were mutilated, there was no blood on the ground. It was very surgically precise, and like even doctors couldn't understand how it was done. Correct? That's kind of the gist of what Skinwalker Ranch is.
Like you could tell it wasn't like from a predator, killing the animals.
Yes.
But so like how it started was there were two tribes, the Navajo and for the life of me I can't think of the other one, but the Navajo cursed the land after a fight with the other tribe because the other tribe won the land, but they had cursed it, and that's why they call it Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh shit, I got you.
So it's cursed native land.
And a skinwalker, from what I've gathered, is pretty much the Native American like demon that can transform. Something like that.
Well, it's supposed to be like an actual native that has turned basically to black magic.
Okay.
And so they are just consumed by it, and they're able to transform into different animals. And they say that, not to whistle at night because only the dead whistle back. And
oh shit.
Yeah.
Never heard
and
that.
If you're out at night and you hear your name called, do not answer it.
Fuck, I'm that idiot. That'd be like, hey, what's up? Let me come.
Yeah.
Oh,
like I don't ever want to go back to the like Arizona or Utah or anything like that.
God, there's some wonky shit happening out there.
Yeah, the West is wild.
Yes, it seems like anywhere that there's desert is where like all these hot spots, these UFO hot spots, these skinwalker shit, like all this happens. It seems like in very isolated place, which would make sense why we've never been able to get good footage. I mean, if it happens where there's very few people.
Yeah, and if it's like magnetic or radioactive, it makes sense that there's no plants.
I want to get in on this. What do you mean by magnetic? I want to know like what
like
it is.
Supposedly there's like a magnetic grid on Earth,
like ley lines.
Yeah, that help the spacecraft travel and stuff like that. So, and isn't the Earth's core supposed to be magnetic?
Yes, it is. It does have a magnetic field. How strong that is, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but that's why the poles are how they are, I think.
Yeah, so I think that has a big thing to do with it too.
And so, what I guess what we're saying is the magnetism. Anyway, well, Jesus Christ, the magnet thing of the Earth. It attracts these things because energy.
I don't think it attracts it. It just allows
like a highway,
like highways for them to travel back and forth.
Okay.
And like in the book, it says that it's easier for them to leave our planet before midnight.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Do you know anything on that? No, just that's what it said.
That's just what it said.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But that like, do you ever look into any Mayan, Aztec?
Yeah, I was actually in Mexico not too long ago. We went to
Where'd you go?
Oh gosh, you had to ask me. We went on a cruise and we stopped in Puerto Maya, I think, and then another popular spot in Mexico.
Did you get to go to the Mayan ruins at all? Or?
We did. We went to some ruins, and it was really cool how they did it.
It's very eerie being there and just looking at,
just like trying to put yourself into that space so many years ago. You're just like,
and what our history tells us is that in these times we're having trouble finding food. We're having trouble just surviving, and then we fixate on building these huge, enormous fucking structures that have art and just beautiful wonders of the world that today we can't even replicate as good as they have.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever heard of Graham Hancock?
Mm-mm.
And what's his name? It's Graham Hancock and I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, there's these two. They're scientists, biologists, whatever. But they come up with the theory of the Younger Dryas. Do you know what the Younger Dryas is?
No.
Okay. Basically, the theory states that humans have been advanced before.
Mm-hmm.
We've been where we are, probably exceeded it.
Yeah.
And then there was this cataclysmic event called the Younger Dryas impact. And every June and November, we pass through the Taurid meteor stream. And back in the day, during this time, it was not uncommon for us to get hit with asteroids. And that's why those times a month, you can always see a bunch of meteor showers.
Yeah.
And what they theorize is that during this when we entered the Taurid meteor stream site, whatever, we got hit by a cataclysmic size asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
And that knocked us back to the Stone Age. And we've rebuilt from there. And there's a lot of evidence to it. I've done a lot of looking in on this. They've carbon dated stuff, and nowadays they're even getting more scientists on board with this theory who are like, yeah, this is what happens. But the thing is, archaeologists and these scientists that have made their career on the theory that's already there, they're like the gatekeepers. So they don't want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So they are pushing back as hard as they can. Graham Hancock has a Netflix series called Ancient Apocalypse. I recommend it because it talks all about the Younger Dryas. It talks about these ancient civilizations, on how we went the gas, the diesel, the combustion engine way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look into to sound waves,
Mm-hmm.
you can move things with the right megahertz. And
yeah, like I listen to subliminals at night while I sleep.
Yeah.
With like the.
Does it help?
I think so.
Yeah.
There are some songs that help me sleep.
Yeah.
And it's just sound is insane what it can do, especially in the right frequencies. Like it can heal you.
Well, yes, and how important it is. Like everything has a vibration, and they think these guys, Randall Carlson, Randall Carlson
Came to you.
and Graham Hancock, they have the theory that they were using sound for the pyramids because
I've heard that,
and it's a very interesting and it's very compelling. It definitely makes you think, but it's getting like critically acclaimed because finally scientists are starting to let loose on these closed-minded ideas and admit that maybe we don't know everything.
And that's like the opposite of science. Like science is questioning everything and researching everything and like learning further. Like it's not just like, oh well, it's this, let's stop looking at it.
Well, we know we cannot know everything from our past, and I think it's almost asinine for these gatekeepers, quote unquote, to not change their opinion because it would contradict their research paper or their lectures. Instead, I think, and it's an ego thing. That's all it is an ego thing. We should have definitely more open-mindedness as far as working together to actually figure out what the fuck is going on this world.
Yeah, but that would be like the easier thing to do.
Exactly. And we as humans never want to do the easy thing.
We don't want to do the easy thing.
Hang on 1 second. I have got to use the restroom, so we're going to pause.
All right, sounds good.
I feel so much better.
I bet you do.
Oh my God, it gets so hard to concentrate. Like when you have to pee, that's all you can think about is peeing. It's horrible.
I think that must be a guy thing.
Oh, really? Can women hold it real good?
Like, we're pretty good at that.
Jesus, yeah. I am fucking horrible. You like my shirt?
I do.
Right?
I wish I had some space and stuff. I need to go shopping.
Got some UFO stuff. I got these from Into the AM. It's a pretty cool website. They've got some really funky psychedelic shirts, and I love this place.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, where were we? We were talking, well, I was talking about the Younger Dryas. What are you looking up right now?
I'm looking at part of Buck's book.
Okay.
And I guess he was actually contacted by the spaceship 5 times. And I remember his first trip, little Bucky had a dog named Bo that was, I think they described him as being like 380 pounds.
Little Bucky, is that the cousin?
The cousin
Okay.
from, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, it was Bo, the space dog, 380
Bo, the
pounds.
space dog.
I can't imagine a 380-pound dog.
So, is this a dog that came from space or was taken up to space and got big?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with Buck, but I'm not a Buck expert.
Hmm.
But it was really neat because before he took a trip up there, they made sure that he wore clean overalls and that he bathed his dog in the spring before he came up.
In the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So,
go ahead.
These creatures, aliens, us, whatever we want to call them, they still drink water, I'm guessing. Does the book state?
I think so. I think they're pretty much like the same as us humans.
Oh.
But just
so looks and everything, or is it like so I guess I was thinking like Grace, like big eyes.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No. Okay. I don't think so, but he didn't really describe it that in depth. But I will definitely do more research and try to find out.
God, this is so interesting.
I know. If I borrowed this copy. I can send you the link to the book on Amazon. I think it's only like $8 or $9.
Definitely worth it. I've got to read that.
Yeah, it is amazing.
I wonder if they have the audio version. I love audiobooks. I love being able to
I don't know.
I'll look. But
I should record an audio version of it, like me reading it.
Do it.
Because you can do that on Amazon and get paid for it for when people listen to that. I should do that.
You should do that.
I should come in here and record it.
Do it. Come on in.
That would be
I'm
so
serious.
cool.
You can use this. I don't
Heck
mind.
Yeah, I might do that because I love to read it, and it's so neat. But yeah, it's got some great. He actually took a picture of the UFO.
He did.
Yeah, and then he tried to take a picture of Bo, the space dog, but I guess he was invisible or something. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't show up. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
He was a very interesting looking person too. So this is the UFO that he took a picture of. He saw it and he went in the house and grabbed his camera. Thank goodness he was thinking clearly and snapped a pic of it.
Wow.
Which is hard to, tell what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of funky looking though cuz
But like I don't think they had like the software to manipulate photos in the 1950s. Let me find a picture of Buck. He's a very interesting looking gentleman.
Now, in his later years, did he? Because another thing I wonder about, even if, wow.
So, and usually his hair is like standing on top of his head too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and then he had his neighbor. What is her name?
I wish things special like this that happened in our small towns, like, because if you think about it, how many small towns out there have compelling stories, have these interesting things that have happened?
I'm sure there's a lot, but it just gets squashed down because we can't be the only town that has.
Oh no, I guarantee
alien contact.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like we said, people are so scared to talk. Yeah. People are scared to look crazy. Look, I don't care. I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. And it does not bother me for people to call me crazy.
Yeah.
With this UFO stuff, I'm so glad that it's finally reached a point to where it's mainstream, to where we can talk about it, not be ostracized constantly. Because
I think like back in the day, it was just so unknown that they were scared. Like normal people were scared, and so they wanted to blame it on something else.
Yeah,
of them just being crazy. And
have you ever heard of the Betty Barney Hill?
No, it sounds like I'm an uncultured swine over here. I've not heard of anything.
Betty Barney Hill, they had an interesting story about an abduction. They were hypnotized or reverse hypnotized to regain lost memories.
That's a thing too.
Yeah, and they told of, I'm going to butcher this because I don't know all the information, but that they were taken to space and they were from the Zeta Articularly solar system or something like that, and they drew a map like under hypnosis and everything, and whether it's true or not, they believe it to be true 100%. They were under hypnosis and what's it called, ray something memory,
regenerative
memory, I think is what it is. And it's a very interesting story.
That is
And
interesting.
this stuff's been happening for thousands and thousands of
Forever,
years.
yeah.
I mean, there is absolutely something to it.
And I'm pretty sure, I couldn't tell you exact instances, but they're like hieroglyphics and stuff with aliens depicted.
Oh, absolutely.
Like people coming from the sky and stuff.
Well, even the Mayans, they have a like a sculpture or a painting or carving or something of a spaceship. It shows the wires. It shows an astronaut with the helmet and everything. And I think space is something. One, can you even fathom in your head what infinity looks like in
No,
space?
I look up at the sky at night and it scares me.
It freaks you out because and now scientists are getting into the multiverse theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the multiverse theory, kind of everything that can and will happen is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So like there is there's a multiverse where we are on Kristen Talks podcast and I'm talking about Buck Nelson.
Yeah, like multiple dimensions.
Yeah, and there's also another dimension where we're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's like thousands or millions of different dimensions and different like timelines that you could be on.
Yeah, and another thing that really gets me, and this is just me thinking, being crazy and stuff, but like, what if when you die, because we know energy is never lost. Okay, so you can't kill energy. It keeps going. It transfers. You can't kill it. What if when we die, we just go to a new dimension? But you have no consciousness.
But you already exist in that dimension. So where do you go?
True. I don't know. That's a weird one. That's a good point, though. I never thought of that. That's wow.
Blow your mind.
Yeah, it really does.
But yeah, like I don't think, like, when we die, like the energy from our soul has to go somewhere.
Yes.
And I feel like it's somewhere in the universe.
Yeah.
That we go. And some believe in like reincarnation. You go back to the basics, the homeland, home base, whatever, and then you have to wait to reincarnate again. And sign soul contracts to go through the human experience to learn and to level up as an enlightened being.
Yeah, because in the higher, lower dimensions, the lower is like kind of hell or bad, and then the higher dimensions equal kind of more enlightenment, right? Is that how that works?
I'm not sure on that. Like, I personally don't believe in hell.
Okay.
I believe that souls are a thing, and they come here to learn through the human experience, pain, joy, fear, everything, and then to basically like level up and like be the best.
And I kind of think the same way. I'm not a Christian. I'm not Catholic. I'm not Jewish. This is just me. And I'm a weirdo, but I believe that God is God. Like we were talking about in the beginning, it doesn't matter what you call him. It's God. Yeah. And what I think doesn't matter. Let me see. Trying to put this as least crazy as possible.
I'm pretty open-minded.
Well, okay, I believe that the Bible's right. We are all part of God.
Yes.
I think we are all down here as a piece of God, learning, like you said, because God wants to test himself and learn. Because God only knows what he knows, whether that be a million times more than us. And I feel like maybe once we learn that lesson that we are supposed to learn, heaven is being absorbed by God again and becoming part of that.
That makes sense. It's like our souls are his children, and he's watching us. Like we watch our 4 and 5 year olds grow, and they make mistakes, and we kind of have to stay connected to them to help them learn. But
exactly. And I believe religion plays a very important role in society. I think people have to have something to believe in.
Yes.
And I would rather them have the 10 commandments of don't kill people, love each other, honor, blah, 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 than us going out free will. And because we are animals.
Yes.
We are ruthless. I mean, just look at us dropping 2 atomic bombs not too long ago, 40 years ago. We killed women, children, and everything.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I feel like we have to have a set standard as human beings. Whether, because I don't know. I feel like all humans are prone to violence, are prone to
act on
desire,
impulse,
yeah,
intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
yeah. Like I
Like
think
we're selfish. We just want to do what we want to do,
exactly,
basically.
exactly. And I think spirituality, religion, all that it gives us a deeper sense of meaning. You know, I really do believe that. Um, yeah. Man, I'm trying to think here.
But yeah, you were saying you weren't Catholic or Christian, and
Oh yeah.
I grew up Christian, but I was really curious about like most of the religions. I had friends that were Jehovah's Witnesses, and I went to their services. My sister-in-law was Catholic. I went with her to mass. I went to Baptist churches,
So
like all over town.
You've got a good variety of, you know, knowing a little bit about all the different religions.
A little bit. I didn't really study it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go and experience it because I learn more by like vibes, like how people are, because I can like, it might make me sound crazy, but like sense how people are feeling.
Yeah.
And so I go off of that, and some of those places made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, the thing about what scares me about churches, period, is that there's money involved. And anytime money is involved in anything, we were just talking, humans are greedy.
Yes.
Humans are corruptible. And I think it is just human nature, whether we like it or not, that anything that has money is going to be corrupt, and they're going to push a narrative.
Yeah, and with religion, you have to be very careful about who you listen to.
Well, I mean, that's how cults start.
Exactly.
I mean, people are always looking for something to cling on to, whether it be religion or a prophet or whatever. I mean, a lot of people that go to church, and I'm not dogging people that go to church. You know, everyone do what they want as long as it makes them happy. But I do think a lot of church are one step away from drinking cyanide Kool-Aid and waiting for the aliens.
I didn't say it, but you did.
You know what I mean? I mean,
well, I mean, the same could be said about, you know, us for believing in aliens and stuff, but that's okay. Yeah. Like,
no, I feel like I mean, I'm included in that, you know, like I want to believe, you know, and I'm very gullible. I'm very much looking for the facts that will validate what I want to be true.
Exactly.
And then,
but you are self-aware enough to see that you do that.
Yeah, but then I'll you know, I've gotten better. I really do. I try to look at things for what they are and try to get a different perspective. I used to not be like that. I used to be a closed-minded shit. And as I've grown, I try to keep an open mind and try to see things from others' point of view more than mine. And I try to have an ever-evolving opinion on everything.
Yeah, growing up, I was just like, you know, my elders told me, you know, what to do, what to believe. I went to church.
Didn't question it.
And then something happened in my late 20s, and I question everything.
Yeah. Well,
everything.
I would be lying if I said in high school I didn't question things. I've always questioned religion. I've always been scared to death to question religion out loud instead of in my head, because I've always been told the fear of hell. And that's a scary thing for a kid, you know, because you have these questions, you want to be able to ask them. But, you know, when you're at a breakfast table with a bunch of old people, they're like, you do that, you're going to burn for all eternity. You know, oh, you're going to have spears.
You're not going to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's scary for a kid. But
I used to be terrified of death, but like now, since I've dealt with it so much in the last couple of years, I'm just like, I'm okay with it. If it's my time, it's my time.
The thing about death with me is, you know, we are not scared to go to sleep. We go to sleep every night. We don't think twice about it. Where does our consciousness go while we're asleep?
Oh, and then that gets me on like lucid dreaming and stuff like that. Like it's just, this world is so much bigger than just the go to work, make your money, go home, eat your dinner, go to bed, and on repeat.
Yeah, and for some reason, it seems like most humans want to convince themselves that this world is not special, that everything is ordinary.
They want
it's
to.
Comfort.
They're in low vibration.
Yeah, and they will fight tooth and nail.
And then they're depressed and sick all the time.
Taking SSRIs, taking this, taking that, just being which, you know, all the human body is a drug making factory. You know, we make dopamine, we make serotonin, we make all these different chemicals in our body. We're a chemical lab.
Exactly.
And, you know, we get depressed, we add more chemicals to it. You know, what are the long-term effects of that? Does that affect our consciousness? Does that affect?
It does affect our consciousness and our body long term, because you take a medication for one thing and then you have this side effect and you have to take a medication for that, and then you're just on this long list of prescriptions that you're like you have to survive. And then if the world goes to shit and there are no more pharmacies, what are you gonna do?
You're fucked.
But like I'm obsessed with like herbal remedies. Like I want to know what plants I need to take if I have a fever. What plants I can, chew up and make a poultice for a cut so I don't get an infection,
And I firmly believe that nature has given us everything we need.
Nature has. And the plants that heal us the most, the government say, oh, that's a weed.
Yeah.
You don't need that in your
you don't
yard.
need it. You don't need it. Well,
that's a weed.
Well, just look at drugs. Okay, there has been a war on drugs. Plain and simple, the word drug is just taboo.
It's bad.
I used to think, growing up, I'm sure you did too, that dare to resist drugs.
Oh, I remember dare.
Don't smoke.
No one has offered me free drugs, though.
Right.
I know.
Bring them on if you got them.
Yeah.
But, I grew up, even in high school, like, someone smoking weed. Oh, they're not doing anything with their life. They're going to be lazy stoners. I used to be like that, like, which I drank a lot as a teenager, and I'm like, don't do that. It was bad. Like, I was seriously depressed as a teenager, and so but like, if someone was smoking weed and I smelled it, I'm like, no, you can't do that. It's illegal. You try it once and you're fucking hooked.
While I was, underage drinking. I'm like, okay, I'm the hypocrite then.
Well, isn't it kind of weird how society has accepted caffeine? That's a drug.
Caffeine is a drug, yeah. Sugar is a drug.
Sugar, nicotine, alcohol. Alcohol is a mind-altering drug.
It's a downer, yeah.
And, we accept that, and that it's a popular thing, and people even praise you for drinking. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl. It's celebrated. Yeah, look at the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl, all the players were on a parade just chugging beers. Now, if you take that out and give everyone a joint, can you imagine?
Like, oh, no.
Oh, the fucking outrage. Like, but, I do believe our government did such an amazing job at scaring us about any type of drug.
Oh, yeah.
Marijuana, I legitimately thought that if you did marijuana, your mind would melt and you would be this
just like
zombie.
Yeah,
I thought being like on meth was the same as being
it's in the same category because it's illegal.
Exactly.
But like, and the medicinal benefits of it is just insane,
and the recreational benefits of it are fucking amazing.
I've never had a stoner call me names or try to fight me.
No, they're trying to love you.
They're like, yes, let's make some brownies. Yes. And that's my kind of people.
Yeah, they're trying to understand, talk, deep conversation.
Yeah, they're like, let's talk about the universe.
Yeah.
And then they're asleep.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get someone with alcohol, they're wanting to hit you in the face.
They're aggressive. Yeah. And even like pills and stuff. They're
pills are
wanting to fight, which, it's just insane. The night and day difference between like alcohol and weed.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that 2023, Missouri has finally recreationally legalized marijuana. And it's taken forever. But I feel like that stigma is just on the downhill slope. These small towns, it seems like it takes a long time to catch up with everyone else. So everyone else, the rest of the world and stuff, they're like, we know weed's not bad. And then I would love to go to a coffee shop here in Mountain View and pull a joint out, take a hit, and just watch all the old men just
have a heart attack.
All over fucking dead. They would not be okay with it because they grew up under that. It's bad for you. You'll eat someone's face.
But like they did that with alcohol. There was a prohibition, and it was cool to break the rules and drink it then.
Exactly. So, but that's because it was illegal, and they even had things for medicinal purposes for alcohol. You could get a certificate to make it, or a license or whatever.
Or like the medicines. You look back on the medicines, like the cough syrups was like vodka or whiskey and what was it? Chloroform? For cough. It's like
for coughing?
Yes. Oh, it's like you might pass out for 3 days, but you're not going to cough anymore.
Jesus.
Like, we will take care of that cough.
Well, they used to put codeine, I know, in cough syrup when we were growing up.
Yeah, you remember Dimetap?
No.
It had I don't remember what was in it, but it would knock me the F out, and my mom would be like, was that a sneeze? and give it to me, and it tasted amazing. So I'm like, give me the whole
it.
bottle, and I was like,
it was called Dimetap.
Dimetap. Yeah, they have it now, but they took that stuff out of it.
Like
I don't remember what it was, but it was the good stuff.
That's like Four Locos. You can't get a real Four Loco anymore.
Shit, I remember Four Locos.
We were fucked up on Four Locos back in the day, you know?
My senior prom, I got shitty off of one. Like, it doesn't take very much.
It does not take much.
And I was like blackout drunk.
Oh my god, those things were deadly.
They were. They tasted like shit too.
But man, they fuck you up.
They did, yeah.
They have like, did you see China has them?
What?
And they call them virgin. It's the same as what a Four Loko used to be when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm. They
call them like a virgin destroyer or a virgin like eliminator. Like you're not going to be a virgin when you drink these.
Oh jeez,
I'm not shitting you. It's so fucking weird. I love. It's so weird what China allows.
China's wild.
Fucking wild.
Wild.
And the shit going on with Taiwan right now, that is some scary shit.
I don't know what's going on with Taiwan. I would love to go.
Well, okay. You want to know?
How scary is it?
It's not.
Like, is it gonna keep me up at night?
No, it's not. It's not as bad as Russia and Ukraine. Basically, the United States has an agreement with China called the One China Policy.
Mm-hmm.
One China Policy states that we recognize all the sovereignty of all of China, including Taiwan. That we might not agree with it, but we're not going to help it or do anything with it. We're staying out of it, is basically what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here recently, we decided, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to back Taiwan and everything, which...
Oh, no.
I understand Taiwan's like wanting to be democratic and everything, but at the same time, like I don't believe our sons and daughters need to die for that.
Mm-mm.
You know, but anyway, we're selling them weapons now. China 2 days ago sent 25 fighter jets over there just to like a show of force. Sent them over there. Nothing's happened yet, but we've got 5,000 Marines waiting in Guam for something to happen because China's wanting to do what Russia's doing with Ukraine, you know, with Taiwan, bring them back into the fold.
Yeah.
And that was always going to be the plan. You know, the world knew that this is going to happen. The same way with Ukraine. Everyone knew Ukraine was going to get invaded eventually. But now that everything's kind of spiraling right now, for some reason, the administration and stuff decided to go back on this policy and are just going to back Taiwan, and which could lead to a world war.
Oh, geez.
You know, because
because we're meddling in their business.
Well, not just that, but if Taiwan becomes part of NATO, then you have Chapter 5, which means one attack on one is an attack on all. So if Taiwan ends up, I'm not saying they will, but if they become a part of NATO, if they get attacked, then all the NATO allies have to attack.
We have to attack China.
Attack whoever invades, yes.
Okay.
And that's kind of what the Ukrainian thing was, is NATO likes to push it. You know, Russia should not have done what they've done. I'm not saying that. But there's a lot more to the story.
I think there's a lot more to the story of why Putin did that.
Well, what would America do if Russia buddied up with Mexico and wanted to put nukes in Mexico? We would level Mexico. That's exactly what America would do. And it's the same thing.
Yeah, and that makes me think of a passage in Buck's book, too. That
oh, he's got 2 books?
No, hang on one second. Let me find it. It was a message from little Bucky. That one I was talking about earlier.
The cousin.
But it said that basically we would destroy ourselves. It'd end up in a whole world war.
We probably have. We have probably destroyed ourselves before. You know, and we're just rebuilding. We're to the point where we're going to do it again. And how many times throughout billions of years have we crawled ourselves out of the Stone Age, made these ungodly technological advances, and then destroyed ourselves because of borders or territory or whatever?
Yeah, it's just insane.
It's scary where our world's headed, just period. You know, with everything going on, I feel like the impending sense of dread, I have never felt like this. It has to be what the Cold War felt like.
I am stressed out
Me too.
nonstop.
And that's why I quit watching news.
Yeah.
You know?
It is wild. Like, I even worry about, you know, sending my kids to school. Like, what if something happens and then they're like, they won't release the kids, you know, if something happens.
Or they won't tell you until it's over. That's like all these school shootings and stuff. When in our life has that ever been a worry?
Like, was that a thing when we were kids?
I remember
I remember there being a bomb threat.
Yeah.
A couple times.
But we never, I don't at least remember worrying about people shooting up a school.
No.
And now that has become a norm.
But is it because of all of the TV programming?
It could be.
Is it because of medications that people are on?
I think
chemical imbalances due to our food.
Yeah, and medicines.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of our like mental illnesses are due to mineral and vitamin deficiencies.
Yep.
Because our food is depleted of all the nutrition because of the bug spray that the pesticides they spray. So like that's in our soil.
Yep.
And our soils are depleted because we don't know how to take care of it.
Like much. We do monocrop agriculture and
yeah exactly it. And so like the food that we eat, even if it's organic or pesticide free, like it's depleted of the minerals that we need.
Okay. Yeah.
So like eating a salad, you're not really getting that much,
especially not getting what our ancestors got.
Exactly. Yeah, and then with all the processed foods, it's just like a double whammy.
That's scary. Processed foods are scary.
I know, they're so delicious, but
they
scary.
They're addicting. Well, everything's addicting nowadays.
It is. Like because they put sugar in everything.
Yeah, it's sugar. It's GMOs.
Sugar and spaghetti sauce. I've not been able to find a spaghetti sauce that has less than 4 grams of sugar.
No shit. And I'm sure if you buy a spaghetti sauce at the store, they've all got sugar too. Or is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And for some reason, our culture, and it scares me, is it seems like our main food groups anymore are sugar, carbs,
it's cereal,
and processed food,
cereal, pasta, and microwavable foods.
Yeah, that's like wheat, like cereal for breakfast. Do you know how that got started?
Was it an interesting start? Did it have to do with like women being horny?
Yeah, it has to do with masturbation. How fucked up are we as a society to one, accept it, and two, just keep it going?
I know.
I let my kids eat cereal until I found that out. I'm like, after that, no one's eating cereal. No one's eating cereal.
No more cereal.
So basically, for everyone watching, so you can kind of know what we're talking about. Cereal was never a breakfast food. Cereal finally became a breakfast food because there was a preacher somewhere, I don't know the details, that saw that there was a rise of teenage masturbation, and we have got to destroy it at all costs.
Oh, I hate that.
And there are studies, there are fucking studies to show that wheat lowers sex drive on teens, children, and maybe even adults. I don't know. So he introduced wheat thins, or wheat cereal, as an alternative for breakfast to stop teenage masturbation.
I'm never going to eat cereal again a day in my life.
Right?
Or bread. I'm just going to give up all.
That is so fucking crazy. So fucking crazy. Yeah. And, bread just becomes sugar in your body. I think a lot of our mental illnesses and our health has to do with diet first.
Diet, absolutely. Diet.
What do you think
and
about
then
that?
Diet and mindset.
Yeah, mindset. Well, that's like me. I've gotten into like working out and stuff. I used to know. I used to be a fat little thing. I'm not skinny by any means, but I'm getting better. But before I worked out, I would be so depressed. I would come home, I would just
depressed, cry. No energy.
Yeah. Well, I would cry. I would come home and just, if I had a bad day, I'd sit there, cry, not want to talk to anyone. And then
self-isolate.
Yeah. And then you introduce this struggle into your life. It's something you have to do. You have to get up, you have to work out, you have to take an ice bath. That's what I do. And man, on the days I don't work out or take an ice bath, I can tell. I can tell because I am in a negative place. Whenever I do those things, I am a happy-go-lucky guy. Nothing bothers me because
I feel so good when I work out. I don't do it enough, but like
none of us do. It's hard.
So good.
It does. It feels great, and to me, it's the best mental medicine that there is. I mean,
yeah,
the way you feel unstoppable
because you get endorphins from it, and so it makes you feel better.
Yeah, and you feel unstoppable. Like once you've done it, that's like the ice bath. Have you ever done an ice bath?
No, but I have done a sauna and then a cold shower, and that was miserable.
Oh my God. I tell you what, an ice bath is like nothing I've ever felt in my life. It hurts. It absolutely hurts. I didn't think, I've heard people, ice bath so bad. Fuck, I can do it.
I hate the cold.
First time I got in and I jumped right back out, and I was holding my leg like, and then now I do it. I try to do it daily, and if I can get through that at 5:30 in the morning, the rest of my day is going to be fucking cake.
That's early and cold.
Yeah.
Two things I despise.
Yeah, I wake up, I grab my towel, I don't even think about it, and I go outside and I get in the ice bath.
Gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, it fucking
I
sucks.
could never.
It fucking sucks. But rest of the day,
Mm-hmm.
anything that goes wrong, I've already done something harder. You know, and
well, as humans, we're not meant to like sit and be stationary. We're meant to be out hunting and building and foraging,
gathering and doing all this,
just being physical.
Yes. So I mean, that's what we are. Is just we're meatheads that are supposed to be building stuff.
Like especially men. Like men benefit more from working out and exercising because it increases your testosterone as well. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, like...
Well, that's another thing that's on the decline is male testosterone.
Yes. And there is something, I can't remember what it was. They did a study on it in frogs, and it caused the frogs to be homosexual, basically.
Yeah, that's some Alex Jones shit. He used to talk about that a lot. There was a chemical that it turned them trans.
I can't remember. And it's in our... Was it fluoride? In our water?
I can't remember what chemical it was.
I think it was
fluoride. I know there was a chemical because my favorite thing in the world was listening to Alex Jones going, "They're turning the frogs gay. Yeah. They're turning the frogs gay."
They are.
I loved it. I loved it.
But like it makes sense because there's an increased femininity in men nowadays.
And an increased masculinity in women.
Yes, because I feel like women have to be more masculine because men are more feminine. It's like a yin and a yang. Mm-hmm. Like when one energy changes, the other energy has to make up for it.
I agree 100%. That's like, back even whenever I was a kid, this is how quick everything has changed. Is back whenever I was a kid, I remember having very strong male role models. And, like dad would come home and he would go shower and everything. And he would do the manly work around the house, and mom would cook and help with the kids. And dad would too, to an extent. But, and I'm not saying gender roles are good because we do everything together, me and the wife. But it seems like the farther we get away, because I think there is a thing of good masculinity. Yes. I think children need to see a man being a man and a woman being a woman and mom and dad loving each other for who they are. And, I really do.
I think toxic masculinity is feminine men.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I feel like we're going to do a disservice to our children by not giving them the tools to provide for their family, really. And because it is, I feel like it is my job to provide for my family, for my kids and my wife.
And I'm very traditional in that sense too. Like I think the man should, be masculine and respectful, but firm.
This is not a popular opinion at all nowadays.
No. And like if you go back to like the old days when the men were hunters and women were gatherers, that's how I feel like we should be. Like men should go out and provide, women should stay home and tend to children and like do gardens and stuff, and like, but they should be equal.
Yes, because it is a yin and yang. Yeah. And that's like, and that's one thing. If there's a woman that wants to go out and do hard labor and stuff, by all means do it. If that's what makes you happy, do it. But in the family society, I do feel that there is more positive than negatives to a dad being a dad and a mom being a mom and coexisting and
feeding each other with their energy,
complementing.
Men, women and men are not equal.
No,
we will never be equal.
Just physically,
physically, energetically. So men need the feminine energy to feel masculine.
Yep.
It's so
that's a good way to put it. I've never heard that put like that.
Yeah.
That is very.
But I've dated a lot. So I've dated some men that were feminine in their feminine energy, not just like, feminine, but insecure kind of. And so that put me in a masculine energy.
And you were kind of doing the man job.
I'm over this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of weird when the roles are reversed like that. Yeah. But today's society, it discourages males and females from doing things that we are genetically made to do. I mean,
even spiritually, like it's not just gender roles, it's like pretty spiritual roles.
Yeah. I agree. Let's like, my grandpa always used to tell me, he said, grandma was the glue to the family.
Yeah.
And when grandma died, our family unraveled.
Exactly. There's always the matriarch, which they're like, women were put down. They had to, they only could take care of the home. Women ran shit.
Yeah.
The men went out and worked, but the women ran shit. They
shit.
raised the kids, they cooked the meals, they paid the bills, they did all the,
Without them, there wouldn't have been a home. There wouldn't have been anything.
No, and men can't survive without that femininity.
Exactly. I mean, we have to have women. We have to have men. And I don't know what war is being waged on straight males and females right now.
I think it's
because, and I am fine with if people want to be gay, I want them to love who they love. If you want to be transgender, I will call you whatever. Where I start actually having a little bit of a pushback and a problem is whenever females are going into male sports, but mostly males are going into female sports.
Yeah, and that's just on a genetic DNA base. But like, that's not fair. Like,
yeah, but we're going to sit there and just act like it's not there. We're going to traverse reality and just cover our eyes to this blindness and say no.
Like, we're so inclusive, it's okay.
Yeah, and I want to be inclusive to a point, but there's got to be a place where common sense takes in also.
Yeah,
it's like religion.
This world has lost any kind of common sense.
Well, it's like religion. I want any religion to do what they want until it starts affecting others.
As long as it doesn't harm others.
If the Catholics want to go on another crusade, I kind of have a problem with it.
But like, if you have an athlete that has an XY chromosome competing against XX chromosomes, it's not fair.
Whatever it wants to be called, has had testosterone pumping through its body its whole life, and then has just started estrogen. If
it's past puberty, you've had testosterone, then that is such an unfair advantage.
And children should not. Children can't even vote. They can't drink alcohol. So why are we going to let them do something so permanent as change their body? If they want to do that at 25,
yeah,
whatever.
It's wild.
But
like, you can't choose if you want to vaccinate your kids.
Yes,
you have to do mandated. It. But you can let your kids choose to change their gender, but you can't let them choose if they want to get a shot or not.
Because it fits a narrative, Kristen. It fits the narrative that they're wanting to push right now.
I think it might be to destroy the traditional family.
Yeah, well, this is kind of the crazy conspiracy in me, but how could we protect ourselves if there was no masculinity to fight?
Exactly.
It'd be easy to roll over a country that has everyone focused on gender.
But I don't know. The women in this country are pretty crazy.
They're mean. Yeah. They're mean.
They better watch out for them.
I mean, yeah, my wife could kick my ass any day of the week.
It's like, if the men aren't masculine, the women will be.
Exactly.
And we have PMS, so
got that on your side.
You better watch out. That one time of the month we are murderous.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Kristen, this has been a great episode.
Yeah, I've had fun. Yeah. Like, I was really nervous at first, but now I'm like, well, I have to come back. I have more conspiracies to talk about.
Absolutely. And I told you there was nothing. Like, it's just us talking.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, a lot of people will see it, but fuck them.
Hopefully.
They'll either like it or they won't.
Yeah.
Just be us, and that's all we can do.
Exactly. So, but yeah, don't forget that Buck Nelson event, April 1st. 12:30 to 3:30.
At the
Neighborhood Tribe. In Mountain View.
Okay. Anything you guys want to plug? Any social media, any businesses, anything where people can follow you, find you, invite you on a different podcast if they want to talk to you.
Follow us at the Neighborhood Tribe on Facebook.
What does the Neighborhood Tribe have? Like, what is that?
Oh my gosh. Well, there is a coffee shop inside of it, Cosmic Coffee. And then we have a lot of art, local artists.
Oh.
And then
I need to come in there.
I know. And then I had a shop around the corner with Emily, and we just missed each other so much. I'm moving into her store now.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to have the Neighborhood Apothecary in there, where I'll have, like, if you want advice on herbs or just want to talk about supplements and, like, gut health and, like, clean beauty. I'm very into non-toxic, anti-synthetic fragrances.
Nice.
Except I do wear perfume sometimes. I will call myself out.
Trying to keep the toxins out of your body as much as possible. And
yes, because it does build up. Yeah. And then
I try to use all natural soap, like, all the time.
I don't use soap at all.
You don't use soap at all?
I mean, laundry detergent. I do use soap, but it's all natural. I was just excited to say that because I use these.
My mind went crazy there for a second. I'm sorry.
Devin.
That was funny.
I use shampoo and it runs down, so that counts, right?
No, you're good. No, it was just a caught me off guard. It was funny.
But no, I don't use laundry detergent or fabric softener.
I don't blame you there. Most fabric softener stuff, I get itchy.
It's a carcinogen. Yeah. Yeah, and then the synthetic fragrances are carcinogens, and the synthetic sugars like sucralose, carrageenan. They use that in liquids to thicken it, like coffee creamers and stuff like that. But no, I have laundry magnets. I'm really proud of them.
Laundry magnets.
Yeah, so there's no smell. Like your clothes don't smell like extra good, but they don't stink.
Yeah, they're clean.
Yeah, and I don't know how the technology works. It must be like alien technology, but it cleans my stuff.
Really?
And it's weird. I just throw my clothes in there, hit the
and cheaper,
button. Cheaper. I think I paid $68 for 2, and they're supposed to have a lifetime warranty.
Nice. So once you got them, you never have to worry.
Yeah, and I never have to buy soap again. And
it is kind of a weird thing that in society we think everything has to smell like flowers and roses.
I know, and like those wall plugins.
Yeah, well, that's like toothpaste. I use charcoal toothpaste. I won't use like fluoride or anything.
Oh, I don't use.
I'm kind of a hippie.
You are talking to a hippie right now. Yeah. I use toothpaste with hydroxyapatite, which is supposed to do the functions of fluoride without the toxicity.
Okay.
And then like mouthwashes with xylitol.
See, I've heard that they put fluoride in our water.
They do
for cavities. Is that right? Or that's what they say? I don't know.
Yeah, they're doing it for the good of the people, but
you've got the face like you're calling bullshit on that a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm very anal about water. Your water's supposed to have a certain alkalinity.
So how do we get that? Like, for me, I usually drink water out of tap, or I grab a bottle of water. How would be the best way in your opinion, to get the best bang for my body? Like,
well, right now
water?
I have a zero water filter.
Okay.
And it takes all the particles out of the water.
Okay.
And it comes with a little tester. You can test it, and it worked. I was like, holy cow. But then you have to add your minerals back in, your minerals and salts, because water does nothing for you unless you have the minerals and salts.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're just drinking,
pretty much distill the water first.
Pretty much, and then add the stuff back in, and it makes it taste better.
Really? Now, is it like flavored, or are you just adding the minerals in?
It's just minerals, but it makes it taste good. You know how some waters don't taste good.
Yeah. Well, like Dasani, I hate that water.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started.
That's like poison.
Like Fiji. I was so glad you got Fiji. I was like Ozarka or Fiji. Yeah. Like I'm a water snob.
I am. I'm a water whore too. It's Evian or Fiji. You know,
like Fiji is like one of the best.
Really?
Yeah, it has
I'm proud of myself right now.
One of the highest alkalinity in water.
Okay, cool.
Well, but yeah,
this has been a very good episode. I've had a hell of a time,
great.
And I hope you come on again soon.
I for sure will.
Well, thank you very much, Kristen.
Thank you for having me.
Kristen Brooks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.